Okay, welcome back to our next podcast we're doing. Yeah. This is Tracy King, the cash flow guru, and my co-host, Tanner Giles.
Tanner Giles.
All right. So we talked last week about the, who we are, and the purpose of this podcast is about bringing benefits and value stacking to those who's listening that are interested in investing in the Smoky Mountains. And we talked about our experience in that area. If you haven't listened to it, you can go back and listen to that one. And then we're talking about short-term rentals in the area. So now we're going to talk about finding the perfect rental to own in our area. So the county is Sevier County. Within Sevier County, you have Sevierville, the city. I guess I'm going to talk more about the major ones, Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg. And so that's where the majority of the people who come here hang right in that stream there, Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, and Gatlinburg.
Those three.
Yep. And so, they've all grown a lot of industry, a lot of new business, and we can talk about that in a minute. But, we can go ahead and mention that now. There was, it's called the 407 Gateway to Adventure. So the Cherokee.
I actually just popped this up
here.
here.
Go ahead. Good. Eastern Band of Cherokees. Yeah.
Yeah. So what they did is they have come in here and the tribe approved $75 million to develop a new theme park, essentially a new attraction for the area. And what it is about, if you just check right here, it's an all new theme spectacle inspired by an authentic and heartbreaking Cherokee story of their heroism in World War I.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just kind of scroll down here. It looks like there's a lay of the land of what they're doing. Going to be shops, hotel, food, the whole 9 yards. Mm-hmm. Additional attractions they've got. So it's right there. Restaurants coming to the site. That'll be announced later, but I mean, they're pouring money in.
Yeah. 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 That park that's coming, it's out of, I think it's out of France. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll be interesting to see that coming. In France, it's the most visited theme park, it says. Mm-hmm. So cool. All right, well, that'll be interesting to look forward to. So just more reasons why we're bringing more people into the area about all these different things that's here now. There's a long list of adventures or attractions and all that's coming into the area.
And these companies obviously think it's a smart investment as well because they're dumping quite a bit of money in it.
You don't spend $75 million on if you not pretty sure what you're going to do with it. Yeah,
on a whim.
Yeah, it's a great place to invest in. So there you have it. You have these big time companies with spending millions and millions of dollars. They're investing in this area.
Yes.
So why shouldn't we? And the answer is we should.
Yes.
Right. So let's find out what makes a perfect rental to own in Sevier County. Well, in my opinion and my experience, it's location is always in real estate rule. And number one for me is it needs to be 20 minutes or less drive into town. Now, listen, there's exceptions, but very few, right? So there's exceptions where there's cabins out there that's a little bit further drive, but they rent really well for whatever reason because
could be sitting on a river.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Could be on the creek side, could be on the river, could have some spectacular mountain view that you have to go drive 20, 30, go 30 minutes to get to it. There's exceptions. But for a rule of thumb, you need to be about a 20-minute drive back on the strip. Mm-hmm. So that's number one. You can write that down. That's a rider downer. That's a rider downer. So that starts there. The other one, what makes perfect rental? Well, people are coming to the mountains to experience, the nature, that kind of thing. People come to experience what's in town, what's around, but they want to have an experience. So you need to create an experience. I think that for most people, they need to realize that who books the cabin So think about this: who books? If you're married, and you got kids, who books the cabin? It's mom.
I was going to say probably your mom.
It's mama.
Mama.
She's doing it. You know why? She wants to know what's going to keep those kids busy when they're in the cabin, right? So there's a couple of different things there. So you know the amenities within the cabin is important. The type of games you have.
You say games, you mean like a multi-cade?
I'm talking about multi-cade now, not your board games. I'm talking about arcade games. You know, driving. You know, games, shooting games. What is it? You know, what's the key there? So there is certain games that does increase your occupancy rate and your rental rate. It does. It impacts it. You know, personally, I don't have any pool tables in my cabins, and I was told, well, that's crazy. And I said, no, I think that it'll do just fine. And all three of my cabins do just fine.
They do all right
without pool tables. Why am I against pool tables? I'm not against pool tables. I like pool, but I'm going to tell you that it's not as big of a draw that it used to be. Mm-hmm. And now it's more about the games you can buy, like the I have the Golden Tee putt golf game. Yep. People love that. We have race car driving games. We got the stand-up arcade games. I like Galactica myself.
Going back
so you
to
can
the
buy a
multi-cade where it's got like
all kinds
Pac-Man and Galactica and Donkey Kong. They've got them all built into it.
Yeah, and they have packages where it's just like all the fighting games. Mm-hmm. You know, so if you were in the 80s and you were doing all the fighting games, one of my cabins had that.
Yep.
Yeah, I've had people geek out over it and just love it. So there's just all kinds of choices you can do. That helps, make a rental. People think like, okay, if you don't have a view, then it's not going to be a good rental. No, that's not true at all. True. A view does help, but also it's about the amenities in the cabin. Now we have a lot of pool cabins, swimming pool cabins. So we have swimming pools indoor in the cabins. They're great. They do. I mean, and people talk about, there's going to be a lot of upkeep and all that. And I can tell you, no. If it's built right, installed right, that's key. And which the people we work with do them they do them very well.
We had to convince one of the builders. Yeah. He says water's supposed to be on the outside of the house, not on the inside. Yeah. We had to come up with a really good game plan on how to make sure he was comfortable.
And I love the floor plan we have with that. So and that's at Heritage Mountain Resort
downtown Pigeon Forge.
Pigeon Forge, right behind the Texas Roadhouse.
Right across the street from Dixie
Stampede, yeah. So, Dolly Stampede now. You got to be politically correct. It's always Dixie Stampede for us, but just saying. So, Stampede. Yeah. So the thing is we have those options. There's a lot of options where, now I will tell you this. I don't know of a cabin out there that can't, you're not going to make it if you don't have a hot tub. Mm-hmm. It's just this area.
It's like having doors.
Man, I'm telling you.
Gotta have it.
You got to have a hot tub in this area or you're just not going to make it. And so the other part of that would be, if you don't have a kitchen, that's kind of like you got to have a hot tub. It's just how important it is.
Right.
So we got that. And then, going back to that, the kitchen needs to be stocked very well. And it doesn't have to be high dollar stuff, but it needs to be stocked. If you're sleeping 18 people, you need to make sure you're supplied for it.
1.5 times that.
That's right. Yeah. And so those are things like that we can help teach people. But what makes a perfect rental cabin? Well, I think the perfect rental cabin is the one that most people would rent. So you want to appeal to, in my opinion, the majority of people. If you don't appeal to the majority of people, then your chance of occupancy rate is going to go down. And so I think that for me, I always look at a property of like, okay, what does the majority of people want? What can they afford? I could have a high-end, big-time cabin, but I don't know about the renters. The rental pool shrinks a lot.
The amount of people coming for that type of property.
Mm-hmm. It does. Yeah. Now you can have one that's large where you're catering to the large groups, church groups, corporate groups, all kinds of
family
different
reunions.
all kinds of groups you can think of. Now those do well. They do well.
It take a little while to build that, especially if you're,
yeah,
10 plus bedrooms that
Right.
they don't rent on the first weekend.
all right, yeah. So, but
Well-
they do well.
I want to go back to picking out the right property and, appealing to the masses. And it starts with who you're working with, because I can't tell you how many times I'm going into a cabin. It's the perfect cabin. These, the clients I'm working with, they're telling me this is what they wanted. And we walk in and then, I don't like this and I don't like that. You really got to ask yourself, is this cabin for you, or is it for the masses?
That's right.
Who is it that's going to be staying in it 90% of the time? And can you deal with it for 10% of the time for it to not be custom built exactly like you wanted?
That's a good point. So then you have to just understand and take them back to their why. Okay, now, is this going to be an investment for you, or is this going to be your second home?
Mm-hmm.
And you just have to continue to remind them, okay, you said and you want investment property. All right.
It is.
So you just continue to take them back to that it's an investment property. And so, because they can get hung up on, I know I can do the same thing. I have to continue reminding myself, okay, what am I buying this for?
Right.
Investment, not for me to be here 4 or 5, months out of the year. It's not a second home.
Right.
So that's a good point. What else makes a great rental cabin besides the games? I think floor plan is important.
Mm-hmm.
I know that when we go on vacations, we look for, when somebody has the floor plan on as the pictures, because families travel more and more. A lot of families are traveling together.
Yep, together.
And you want to see how the layout is. So I think that a good floor plan is important. Mm-hmm. And sleeper sofas that are comfortable, that's important. Yeah. So I think those kind of things happen. I think that you need to have king size beds in all your bedrooms that you can fit.
You can get.
Unless you're going to do a kid room, which one of my cabins is a 6-bedroom, and one of the bedrooms is a bunk room. Mm-hmm. And so we have queen size bunks over queen size bunks and another queen size bed. So we have that. But for the most part, if it's just a bedroom with one bed, you need to make sure it can fit a king in it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people look for that.
They do. Yeah, I've got a bunk room also, and one of the bedrooms we've got is a queen, and I'm in the process of getting that changed, because when I stayed in it, it was a queen. I was like, yeah, I'm just not about that.
Well, see, a thing is too, you have to think differently. If you look at the motel rooms, mm-hmm. motel has double queens, and they have most of those are double queen rooms versus king.
Yep.
Reason why, they sleep more people, they can charge more. Yep. But we're not, the investment property that we sell is not a motel, and you don't use a motel strategy as far as, that goes. Mm-hmm. You do it what's going to draw people in. And the thing is, if you build if you got a 3-bedroom cabin, do you really think you ought to have 15 or 16 people in it? The answer is no. There needs to be kept a cap rate of how many people you sleep in it, and one for safety, but the other one is for wear and tear. Because the more people you stuff in there, the higher probability of there's going to be some damage.
It's going to be damaged for sure.
So that's important to understand. Like 3-bedroom. I've got a 3-bedroom, and it sleeps 2, 4. Because I got double bunks downstairs. I think I can sleep 12. Mm-hmm. That's the max I would want in there.
Right.
So keep in mind that also you have, if you have bedrooms that will sleep more people, but you have to also, they have to have a place to eat. So if your dining area doesn't accommodate,
sit 7,
or 6 people, or half of that. So you got to think about those things. Right. And that's where, when you hire an expert like us, we can help you walk through those kind of things.
Right.
Let's talk about the cabins that we own, Tanner, and have owned, and what we've done to fix them up and make them into something special. And you had one that was a 1-bedroom?
Yeah, I had a 1-bedroom in Wares Valley that I bought for pretty inexpensive. And once the market shifted, we decided we wanted to upgrade, and we had a lot of equity built into the cabin that we owned. So we sold it, upgraded to the 3-bed that we currently have. And then, just talking about, what makes your cabin stand out, essentially, because that's what you have to do. You've got to build your property to where it stands out and beats all the other cabins around it. So why would I say your cabin versus this cabin or no cabin at all? So, a lot of the
And
things
it can't always be about price per
can't.
night. I mean, not,
it's about being different.
Yeah.
A lot of people search on Airbnb, VRBO, but that's not the only places that people search, but that's obviously a major name brand there. And you've got to be able to stand out from the other 30 cabins on the page. And why would somebody want to stay with you? So some things that I've always done and liked in the past is TVs out by hot tubs, just making the outdoor living super nice, and just being different, lighting, having, like I said, a TV on a wall outside, speakers, radio. I had an Alexa put in one of mine, just things
Still
that
things like
bring
that,
that make you remember home and give you that ease of use while you're there.
Yeah, so I had one that we still own, of course, but we bought it. I think it was in 2020. Yes, no, 2021. Had it redone. My wife does a great job with that. We had it. It was just a house, but it was laid out perfectly for overnight rental, and we refurbished the whole thing. New flooring, new everything. I mean, just brand new, top to bottom, everything. And we added a outdoor fire pit with seating around it, and that helped a lot, along with the games we have in it. It's got a big, downstairs has a big game room / big TV room,
like theater area.
Yeah. So, and it's in the woods, and it's in between Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge. It's a great location. So we do really well with that cabin. There was one I had in Shagbark community, which my wife still is not happy that I sold it, but so she was one of her favorite cabins, but we sold it to someone, and they kept it on our rental program. It's doing really well. It's 2-bedroom, bedroom upstairs, loft, game room, the typical cabin you'd see if it's built in the early 2000s. And but it sits in a great spot there in Shagbark, and it does really well. But we bought that one really good price, and sold it for extremely good price. And we took that money and did something else with it, that reinvested it in something more commercial like. But so there's opportunities here. I think those opportunities will come back around somewhat, but not like we've seen before, I don't think. Fixing up the cabin, there's just do it right. Yeah. We use LVP flooring. It's waterproof, it's resistant, it's really lasts.
It's commercial grade.
Yeah, it's commercial grade. It's a lot better. When they built the cabins in the 90s and early 2000s, they used pine.
Soft, white pine.
Soft, and that's where you'd see. Now, another reason why I didn't like pool tables, people take the pool stick, beat the floor. You have all these, those stamps that just bothered me. So eliminate that, but you do that with the flooring.
And whenever we talk about cabins doing well, like on a rental program, so for instance, when I bought my first in Wares Valley, it was renting before I remodeled it. Doing, I don't know, 23,000, 25,000 a year, maybe 30 at the most. Once we remodeled it, I put in floors, new kitchen. I did a lot to it. Poured a concrete slab on the back, hot tub overlooking the creek. I got the projections and the data and all that, and it was up to about $60,000 within a first full 12 month cycle. Now, it didn't help that COVID hit, shut everything down, but it was trending and could have reached a really, really great number. So when I'm talking about these numbers, I'm talking in gross income. So then obviously we've got to take off management fees. You get your operations on it. So $60,000, $40,000. Those numbers are attainable, and they are hit regularly here.
Yeah. One of our, not the next one coming up, but probably the next one after that, we'll have some live projections and actual rental and showing some properties that we have and some we sold and how they're doing. And we'll show that to everybody. The next question on here was what are the key pieces to look for considering when purchasing? Well, again, it goes back to location. It goes back to the condition of the property, how much you got to put in it. You got, one thing we have is the boring bees come in, then the woodpeckers make the biggest mess. So you got to know how to go around that.
Can I tell you a funny story on woodpeckers?
Yeah.
So back when I was in sales, I would say back in 17 or 18, I went up to a cabin. Guy called me up there, and I walk in, and he's got his revolver laying on the table beside him, because we're in East Tennessee, and who doesn't just have their gun hanging out? He's got a hole in the side of his cabin, and I don't remember his name. Let's just say it's Ron. I was like, Ron, what's going on here? Why's there a hole? Well, I see your gun sitting there. Did you shoot your wall? He's like, yeah, I got them woodpeckers pecking on the outside of my house. I shot one sitting inside, shot a hole straight through his cabin. He's out in the middle of nowhere, so I think he was safe doing that. But
there's other ways to keep them around.
There are other ways to get rid of them, but I just thought that was hilarious. I was telling that story this morning at the gym.
Yeah. So the other key pieces when considering the project is of course the condition of the property. The floor plan I think is important. Yeah. You don't want one that's choppy or anything. Kitchen. A lot of the older cabins here have a small kitchen.
They've got those big heart-shaped tubs, in the living room.
There's some things you got to change, and there's some things you just got to live with. Yep. But that really won't hurt you, but you just got to live with them. The furniture, there's a whole lot of
nice furniture.
Nice furniture. We have a great relationship with one of the furniture guys here. Does a great job. And so next thing is, what's the best method to check out if a cabin is a good pick or not? So how do we know if it's a good pick or not? Well, that's an area of expertise I believe I have. I can identify property that's not performing well, and I know by just looking at it.
Right.
And honestly, not all short-term rental property managements are the same. And so there's some changes you can make. So I've helped clients with some of that, where it could be some furniture, it could be like adding a game,
adding a sauna on the inside,
taking a game out or something and adding one in, adding the sauna, adding 2 hot tubs because one's not big. There's cabins out there that need 2 hot tubs because of the amount of people they sleep and hold. There's different management company that could help.
Sometimes just needs just a clean swipe, just give you a new look, new cabin company, all that.
Yeah, change out the white appliances for black or stainless. Oh man,
you're dated.
You're dated when you got green carpet. That'd be somebody to come in town with truckloads of green carpet in the 90s, and just
they made a lot of money.
Yeah, they did. So
ripping people off. Green carpet.
So I know that people still like carpet in bedrooms and all. I get it, but it doesn't have to be green.
You can get some rugs. You can just get some rugs.
It could be something else. So that's what we got. No, another thing is we want to talk about did we talk about what's coming at the?
Yeah, we did that. Yeah, let's talk about some events.
Yeah, let's talk about some events coming up. So Wares Valley on this weekend, the week of the 14th of October. So they're open for the fall festival. That's going to be great. If you've never been there, if you haven't been to Wares Valley, and you need to go to take a trip.
That's where my cabin was.
It's great, great place, and it's a fun time right now. And then, of course, Dollywood is having their Harvest Festival and Great Pumpkin. And we also have Ober's Oktoberfest is still going on all the way through October 30th. So don't forget about those things happening. And there's just a blue million other things going on. It's just too long of a list to put here.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah, we want to thank our sponsors, All Seasons Insurance Group and Integrity Mortgage Group, the mortgage company that we recommend, and all Seasons, and then Smoky Vistas, our short-term rental property company. Although 3 of those company I have an interest in, of course, and Tanner has some in those, and we are a one-stop shop.
We are.
Buy your rental.
Just
insurance,
a little shameless plug on the rental company here. So something that's super different with Smoky Vistas versus majority of the other companies that I've worked with. And before we had Smoky Vistas, I was with about 2 or 3 different companies. I did Airbnb on my own. I just tried.
Me too.
Tried doing it all myself and see what it was like. Regardless of who stays at the cabins, these things are literally given back to me in a better condition than when it was when I bought it, because we've got this insurance program that the rental company offers on every single renter that goes through for that stay. So, for instance, in the cabin that I had in Wears Valley, before we sold it, somebody was in there and they ended up breaking one of the chairs at the in the kitchen table. And I had just bought it, I would say not even 3 months ago. And it, a lot of times when you buy furniture that goes out of style, and they just new stuff. Yeah. So they couldn't find a new matching chair. They ended up just buying me a brand new dining table and chair set. Didn't cost me a penny.
Right.
And now I have.
Well, the insurance didn't cost the owners either.
Right.
The guest pays.
Oh yeah, guest pays that.
Yeah, so there's no cost to the. So I had one similar to that. Mm-hmm. We had a sleeper sofa, and the cushion got cut during a stay. I'm sure it was accidental, happens. And but they couldn't replace the cushion because they didn't make that. They paid for a brand new sleeper sofa. Yeah. So I got to upgrade.
Correct.
Yeah, and it cost me nothing.
Right. So
absolutely nothing.
These cabin companies, a lot of times, they think of renters first, guests second. Now, I'm not saying we don't think of renters as well as we think of guests.
They think of guests first and owner second.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Yep. Guests first, owner second.
Owner second, but there's no reason they can't be equal and treated, with respect on both sides of it. We're offering up a property. They're renting the property. Let's make sure that we have equal parts here, and the owner's not just left out to dry.
Well, that's a good point, because I was having a meeting with the team today at Smoky Vistas, and the thing I said to them was like, "Hey guys, you know what? One of the reasons Chris and I got into this business was because we felt like the owners needed to be treated better,
mistreated."
Really. And we don't want because we've been owners and we've had a lot of clients that we sold cabins to that just came back to story after story after story, and we were like, okay, that's enough. We got to do something. So I said, what if we do this? Let's have a mindset of we're going to get a 5-star review from our owners. If our owners were coming in today, checking in, we want a 5-star review. And then let's take this same mindset and say, okay, every turn that we have, let's just say we put in our mind like it's the owners coming. What would we do different? Yeah. We'd be on our toes a little bit more. But I'm telling you, if we can get a 5-star review from our owners, the guests, they're going to be blown away.
Love it.
So that's how we're looking at things. So we're going to be like, when a guest checks out, we're just going to we don't know the guest name, but what we're saying is that's the owner coming. Owner's coming. Let's step it up. Let's do this. Let's take care of it. And that way it's, the property's being taken care of, looked after. Because, you and I, we're owners of properties. We understand those pain points. So anyhow, that's one of the benefactors, I believe, of having the experience that we have owning the short-term rental company, along with being real estate agents and investors ourselves.
Yes.
So we understand all the pain points, and we know how to address them. We know how to solve them, and we're doing that. Yep.
There's a problem in the industry, and we have a solution.
That's correct. Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, catch us on the next one next week. So if you're looking for information from us, you can call or text us at 865-365-2280. If you missed any of the podcasts, go back and watch them. You can share this podcast with anybody you know. If you're looking to be an investor, if you are already an investor, you may want to reach out to us. If you own a property management company, you should reach out to us. Phone number is 865-365-2280. You can call or text it 24/7. We're here for you. See you next time.
Thank you.